Joe with Black Box Silver and Bronze. Yesterday, I hopped in my car and drove up to Lexington, Kentucky for a Comic-Con, and I'm going to take you along for that ride. So if you want to join me on that journey, just keep watching. If you'd rather just skip ahead and see the comic haul that I got, then you can do that too, because I'm putting a timestamp in so you could jump ahead to that. So let's begin.
Hey comic addicts, it's Joe and I am on the way to Lexington, Kentucky. I got up early this morning and hopped in the car, started driving up to Lexington. There's a comic convention up there. It's been running from Thursday through Sunday. My clock says it's 8:12. I think it might be 7:12 where I am. I think I have crossed time zones, although check to be sure, so I'm not exactly sure. It's about a 4.5-hour drive. I'm going through some beautiful country. I'm going by mountains and hills and lots of farmland and forests. Seen a lot of cows, seen a lot of junkyards, and I'm heading up there on Saturday. I hope I find something good. We'll see.
A few hours later.
Hey comic addicts, it's been a couple of hours and I'm starting to see signs for Lexington, Kentucky. Getting close. It says I'll be there in about 12-13 minutes. And I'm just passing a sign right now that says Lexington 60, exit 110. And that's the exit I'm heading for. So I'm getting pretty excited. Getting really close, and the hunt will go on.
A few minutes later.
So here I am at the Lexington Comic Con, and there is this huge line that just keeps wrapping around to get in. So it's going to be a wait.
Many minutes later.
All right, so let's get into the comics that I got from me. First, I bought some comics from this place called DT Comics. And the first comic I got at the convention was at this booth. They had a nice wall of comics and boxes to dig through. And the comic that I got from this place was the very first issue of $6 Million Man. So this is from Charlton Comics. And this is the first appearance of Steve Austin, $6 Million Man in comics. And so I think it's about a 9-issue run. And I was just still needing issues 1 and 2. And so I picked up issue 1. He had 2 issues of number 1. He didn't have any issues of number 2. He had some of the other issues that I already had. But he had 2 of these. They were both listed for $30. And I took the nicer one out and offered him $20, and he took it. And he had on the wall, and I looked at it, I held it in my hand, was a Chamber of Chills number 19, that classic pre-code horror cover with the wine glass that you could see the skeleton of the beautiful woman's body through it. It was $3,500. So it was cool to see it, cool to hold it, but wow. So the next dealer I got something from, this was actually the last dealer I hit in the day. He was a small dealer came down from Ohio, but he had mostly more modern stuff. But he did have this. This is Superman Adventures number 21. And it says Supergirl Adventures there, but this is issue number 21 of Superman Adventures. And it's a story about Supergirl, and that is a Bruce Timm cover. And I've been having this one on my radar for a long time. I've been looking for it, and it usually goes like $100 or more. And I was able to get it for $20. It's in really good shape. There is one small like indentation there, like somebody's fingernail or something. And I'm pretty sure that if you had a press, you could press it out. It's not breaking color. And other than that, this is a really, really high grade comic. So happy to finally have this one. All right. The next comic I picked up was from a dealer called Bill Fade Comics. He had a nice wall, lots of Golden Age and modern stuff too. He had a lot of Zombie Tramp, and he had boxes, some Golden Age boxes for $10, some as priced, bunch of Silver and Bronze Age stuff. I picked up one comic from him, and this is Racket Squad in Action. This is number 22. It's a Charlton comic, and it's got this great Dick Giordano cover. It's from July of 1956, and this is one of the few crime comics that continued into the Code era, and mainly it was because of the subject matter that they were dealing with. They were dealing with like pickpockets and con men. That's what the stories were about. So it lasted a little bit longer than other crime issues. So that's Racket Squad number 22. The next stack of comics came from this guy named Gary Gamboa, and he's got a store. He goes by GG Man Comics. I got 4 comics from him. He had a nice wall, lots of boxes, nice guy to talk to. He was having a sale on all his Westerns were 50% off. I've never seen as many Westerns in one place as I saw at this guy's stand. He said he recently picked up a collection and there was lots and lots of Western in it. So the first one I got was Silver Kid Western number 5. And so this was a 5-issue series. I got this one obviously because of that train on the cover. This is from July of 55. It's published by Stanmore. And it's got that kind of like lifting up there. And what's really interesting about this is that piece up there that's looks like it's been lifted is here on the back cover. How did it get from here to here? Now, that's exactly the same shape as what was missing there. And if you take this cover and fold it over, it doesn't look like it does not look like it was folded completely over. But if you folded it completely over, it wouldn't match up with this because this is a little bit in from the corner. Maybe someone was reading it like this. I can't imagine that, but it's really weird that it's there on the back. So that was the first comic I got from this guy. And then I got 3 more. 2 of them were promo comics that I've never seen before. So this is a really cool promo comic. It's by Chrysler. And so it's called The Real Fun of Driving, ! And you see it's got all these great cars there from the 60s. And I did a little research on this. And so this is the first one in 1965. They had 3 different variants of this. They had different cars on the cover, or they were painted different colors, inked different colors. One of the mastheads up here is blue instead of red. So this is the A cover. And then there was a B and a C cover in 1965. And then there were 2 more issues, one in each of the successive following years. So there's 5 different variants of this. This is the first one I've ever seen in my life. And it's really cool. Talks about driving and cars, what you should do, like if you're buying a used car, 8 tips for checking it out. And then on the back, it says, Dodge comes on big for 65. And it shows you all the models that were available in that year. The other promo comic I got, which I had never seen before either, is this one. It's called Everyday Birthday Fun with Elsie the Cow. And it's got amazing colors on it. It's got a little issues, down here and down here, up there. But overall, it presents very nice. And it's just got these amazing colors. And this was a publication that was put out in 1957 on the 100-year anniversary of Borden's. And in here, you get a story about Gail Borden, the founder or inventor of condensed milk or something. And then there's a bunch of games and cutouts and puzzles, children. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, can I check this out and see how much of that was done, if anything's cut out? So we opened it up and went through it, and it's unused. So really cool to add that. The last comic I got from this guy was T-Man number 15. This is by Quality Comics from April of 1954. And it's got the T-Man, Pete Trask. And I love the T-Man stories. They're mostly anti-communism. Some of them are anti-fascist, but they've always got these great adventures that he's going on around the world. He's coming up against communists and Nazis and fascists, and trying to protect the interests of the U.S. And there's a great cover with that woman in red in bondage that he's trying to protect. All right, the next guy I bought some comics from was a small vendor named Tony Bowman, and I wound up getting a stack of comics from him. And the first thing I got was this promo comic. It's March of Comics, number 44 from 1949. And March of Comics was a very widely printed comic. Some people say that if you consider all the comics that ever printed, this has the biggest numbers ever, but not a lot of them lasted because they were just free giveaways that were printed for like department stores and shoe stores and things like that. This one came from Lobel's Youth Center. So that's the first one I got. And then I picked this up. This is really cool. It's the Flying Captain Marvel. It's actually not a comic book. It's about comic book size. It fits in a comic book bag and board. But this was a toy from 1944 by Reed and Associates. So basically, it was like a little paper airplane. And this is the envelope that it came in. And inside this envelope is this little cardboard, very light cardboard printing of Captain Marvel and his cape that you would cut out and attach together. And I don't know if you threw it or you attach it to a string and swung it around, but it's in there unused. So that's really cool. Would you like to see that? Let's do it. This is the envelope, right? And it gives you instructions on how to put it together. And then inside the envelope is these two pieces of paper. Or actually, I guess it's one that's folded together. So there's Captain Marvel, and there is his cape. And you would pop these out of these cardboards. I don't think you needed any scissors. It looks like they just pop right out. They have all these tabs on them, A, B, C, D, E, that are labeled. And you follow these instructions. Then basically you've got yourself like a little paper airplane made of Captain Marvel. The other thing I got from this gentleman was Dick Tracy. And this is Dick Tracy number 137. It's from December of 1959. And it reprints newspaper strips from 1939. And some of the original newspaper art had to be altered because it was too violent and the comics code was precluding it. So some of the original strips were changed. The next one I got is this one. It's Marvel Family number 19. And it's from January of 1948. It's got this classic CC Beck cover with the Marvel family coming in, and the giant is there destroying the train. So you can see why I got that one. Never saw this one before, but when I saw it in there, I was like, oh yeah, I'll take that one home with me. And then the big book I got from this guy, couldn't believe I saw this there, was Xmas Comics number 7. So if you watched some of my earlier videos, you saw that I got an earlier issue of this. This is the final issue. This is from December of 1952. And what's very interesting about this, I don't know if you can see how thick it is. It's really thick. So what they did was they took remaindered copies and they stuck like 6 or 7 of them together and then put this big cover on it. and then resold them around Christmas time. And so the first issue is a Captain Marvel issue. There's a Western in here. There's a war issue. There's an Ibis, the Invincible. There's all these different things. This would have been a great Christmas gift to get when you were a kid. I would have loved this. There's so much great stories in here. But what's really unique about some of these Xmas comics is that these were the first gimmick covers. You think of all those things that came out in the 90s, like the prisms and the foils and the die cuts, all the different enhanced covers. These were the first enhanced covers because this stocking here is a piece of green felt glued onto the cover, cut out and glued onto the cover. And so the other issue I have is the first, considered the very first enhanced cover. And then this is one of the early enhanced covers, but also the last issue of the series. And I can't believe I found this because I just got the other one recently, like I would say within a month. I've never seen either of them. And then all of a sudden I've seen 3 of them. I saw the one that I've seen 4 of them because I saw the one that I got. And then Alan mentioned one that was on Sodi. Mike, Night Tiger, and Steve, I Love Disney and Comics, when they were together and they were on their hunt at one of those Ohio stores, they saw one. And then I found this one. So it's really crazy how, like, just recently, maybe it's just because I'm alert to it. All right. So one more vendor to go. This was the big one. The first comic I showed you that I got from Mark was from this dealer. This guy is called Buzzard Brothers Comics. And it's 2 guys. And turns out they're not too far from me. They're from Knoxville, Tennessee, when I got to talking with them. I had a really great time talking with him. And he specializes in Golden Age. So the first place I went into, I brought my lists and I handed out my lists. Said, here's what I'm looking for. They had some nice stuff on the wall. That's where I got the $6 Million Man. And I handed him my lists. You know, I always, whenever I go to Comic Cons, I always try to make a list of some visual images that I could take with me and just, you know, have it on the forefront of my mind that I'm looking for these images. But I also hand them to the dealers if I think they might have it and say, hey, do you have any of these? And the dealer where I got the $6 Million Man didn't, but he said, go check Buzzard Brothers over there. So I went over there, and he specializes in Golden Age. It was unbelievable. I could not believe how much stuff he had. So I've been 3 places. This is now the 3rd where I've seen like a lot of Golden Age. The first place was when I was in San Diego at Southern Comics, I think it's called, or San Diego Comics. I was blown away there. And then in Gallatin, Tennessee, when I went to Old Town Records, the Town Square Records and Comics, or Old Town Records and Comics, they had a lot. But then this guy, unbelievable. Here's a picture of the wall. And on the wall, Timely's, Human Torch, Submariner, Captain America, you know, Pre-Code Horror, EC, you name it, he had it. So I gave him my list, and he said, oh, these are all great comics. I've had them, but I don't have any of them right now, except for maybe one. He dug, he couldn't find it. So I just started looking. So I unfortunately was not able to get any of the comics on my list that I was really shooting for. I was hoping to get 1 or 2 of these, you know, that I've been looking for a long time. Didn't get any of them. But like Collecto6 said, you know, you take your targets of opportunity. And so I just started digging. And I put together this big stack, and I want this. And then at the end, there was too much. It was way more than I can afford. So I had to, like Collecto6 also said, be like a surgeon, right? And strategically cut out and keep the best. So this is what I was able to afford. And this is what I was able to come home with. And I hope to see this dealer again because there was so much more that would look great in my collection. So the first one is this. This is Humbug. And this is from January of 1958. And it's a humor, satire, magazine comic that was created by Harvey Kurtzman. And it's very akin to like Mad Magazine, but more adult. You know, the reviews of it says it's like more political than Mad. And one of the problems with this, it only ran like 10 or 11 issues, something like that. And if you can see the size, right, this is in a comic bag. And so it's smaller than a regular comic. And what wound up happening was it was getting lost on the newsstands because it would fall in behind other comics and people wouldn't see it. So they changed it with the last two issues to magazine size, but they didn't have enough distribution and it didn't last. But I thought that was a really cool kind of Charles Dickens, Ebenezer Scrooge Christmas cover. The next thing I got was Ozark Ike. This is issue number, says B11 on it. And this is by Standard or Pines Comics from February of 1948. And even though it says B11, this is the first issue in the Ozark Ike series. And he may have had the whole series. There was quite a few of these, but this is the one I picked. I really liked that good girl image on the spine side of the comic book there. I thought that was just really sultry. And you can see it's signed by Ray Gatto down there. And so he created Ozark Ike in the newspapers. And he did this while he was working, I think, in Washington, D.C. for the Navy. He was in the Navy, working for the Navy, drawing things for them. And he created this. And so it's kind of like Little Abner a little bit, you know. This guy, Ozark Ike, is this big, strong guy who goes to the big city to play baseball in off season. He's a boxer, and he's got his girlfriend back home. And there's kind of like a what do you call it? A feud, like the Hatfield McCoy feud going on between two families in here as well. So that's Ozark Ike. I got the first issue of Tales of the Mysterious Traveler. So Tales of the Mysterious Traveler, issue number 1. Great cover on there with that, we're on the pier. There's looks like an Egyptian sarcophagus being delivered. And some things are going on here in the shadows. So we had a great price on that, so I couldn't leave that behind. And then this one I had to get as soon as I saw the cover. And when I saw the price on it, I had to get this one. This is Underworld, True Crime Stories. And this is from September of 1948. I think it's issue 4. Okay. And look at what's going on there. That he's slapping her. And look at that shock on her face. That was some slap. But look what's going on. Look what this other girl down here is saying. She says, that'll give her the new look. Nobody's like, hey, don't hit a girl. And he's clocking her. So I thought that was just quite a cover. So I snagged that one. And there's a story in here. It's an early girl action story. There's a policewoman, Jean something, who, you know, goes undercover. And it's an early female-led action story. So that one is really cool. All right. And then I got another Captain Marvel. This is Captain Marvel Adventures number 29 from 1943. And it could use good cleaning. It looks like it in a press. It looks like it's dirty. Maybe it's been in some water. But what's special about this comic is that is the first cover appearance of Mr. Mind right there. Not his first appearance, but his first cover appearance. And so I got that for a nice price too. That's a comic I've been looking for. It wasn't on the list that I brought in, but was one that I've always hoped to find. And so now I've got that one. And a few more to go. This one is an upgrade for me. This is Star Flag Undercover Girl. And this is from 1953. It's also known as A1 Comics number 98. And I have this one. It's on the wall behind me. It's really beat up because somebody poked holes through her eyes and her nipples. And then down along the spine down here, there's a lot of damage down there. But it looks good up there behind me. I was very happy to find that one because these are not that easy to find. There is one on eBay right now, about twice the price that I paid for this, and doesn't look as well. Now, this is not high grade by any means. There is, right down here is some tape, like Scotch tape, holding it together. And there's a few chips along, the top edge there, but I'm so happy to have this upgrade. I think that is one of the best girl action covers from the Golden Age. It just, the action of her riding the motorcycle, being shot at, the colors, the reds, the greens, the oranges, it's thrilling. So Star Flag Undercover Girl, number 4. Now, getting into the best ones of this haul. This is a comic that I never thought I would find. I've been looking for this one. I always hoped to find it. I never thought I would find it. I always thought it would be beyond my price range. What is it? Murder Incorporated, number 4, from July of 1948 by Fox Feature Syndicate. And it just has this amazing, lurid cover with this woman in this beautiful dress or nightgown, and she's getting shot at. You could see in the reflection that she was shot at, and you could see the cracks in the mirror from the bullet. I don't see any holes in her body, so maybe it missed her. But a beautiful yellow cover with the red masthead and just a real sexy scene there. Really happy to have that one. All right, 2 to go. This one is Major Victory number 1. Now, I have never, let me take this out of the bag. I have never heard of this comic, but I had so much fun digging through this guy's boxes and boxes of comics and just finding things and seeing things I had never heard of or seen before. But I saw this one and I said, wow, that is really cool. It's a really cool Golden Age comic. He's fighting the Nazis, but it's also a train cover, right? Right down here is one of the trainmen trying to, flip the switch, and he's getting attacked by the Nazis, and Major Victory comes flying in there. His cape is made out of an American flag. The title is very patriotic. And so this is a Harry Chesler cover. This is from 1944, and this is the first issue of the series. And there were 3 issues in it. They've all got pretty cool patriotic covers. Now, this particular issue, I want to look up why it's a 1.8, because it doesn't say that anything's missing or the cover's loose. It could be just because of the condition of it. But it looks like got a really bad spine roll that maybe this could be taken care of and made to look a little bit better. But what do you think about that one? Have you ever heard of this before? It was my first time. All right, and lastly, it's funny because this comic, when I was digging through the boxes, the guy next to me, I didn't know it, but he was the vendor from around the corner, Tony Bowman. And so I went to his place after, and he was asking me, like, what did you get? And I showed him this one. Here's Wonder Comics. This is Wonder Comics number 4 from February of 1945 with an Alex Schoenberg cover. And I'm so happy to have this one. I love these war propaganda covers by Alex Schoenberg. I really wanted to add one. and I found this one, and the price was unbelievable. I got this for less than $300, and I can't believe that. It's a 3.0. It looks great. The cover's detached, it says, but it looks great. And he's fighting the Japanese, and they got all those way that they drew the Japanese back then, uh, as a propaganda cover. It's so cool. So I went around the corner. I showed this to that vendor. He's like, "Oh my God, you got that one for that price?" He's like, "I didn't see that. I would have bought it." So I think that was a really good buy. So it was fun. I got some great comics. I was hoping I might bump into someone that I watch on YouTube or anything, but I didn't recognize anyone. Had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed those comics. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.